So hi, everybody. I am representing SurrogateFirst today, and we're going to be talking about international surrogacy. So I'm super excited to be talking about this topic today. There is so much information that I would love to share, and let's just get right into everything. So I want to introduce myself. My name is Jasenia Latore. I am a surrogacy educator here at SurrogateFirst. I actually completed my first surrogacy journey 8 months ago. It's crazy how fast time goes. I really can't believe it sometimes, but I gave birth to my first surrogacy 8 months ago. I started sharing my story online, and I gained more than 220,000 followers on TikTok. I've been seen on different articles, podcasts, and even on TV recently. So I'm really excited to share my wisdom with all of you guys today. Our director, Ashley Mareka, wasn't able to make it today, but we'll see her in the next one. So I want to talk about the overview of everything we're going to be talking about today. So first, we're going to talk about domestic versus international and how that works. So the benefits, the challenges, the legal aspects and parentage of everything, financial aspects, and more. So first, I want to talk about SurrogateFirst today. So why choose us? So this is for all of our intended parents that potentially are watching today. So we have a match guarantee at our program, and we have very experienced staff with all previous gestational surrogates and intended parent coordinators. So we've been through it, so we can help you guys better throughout your surrogacy journey. We have really ethical values at our company, and we have 24/7 supports. If anything happens, we're always going to be available for our intended parents and surrogates. And we also have a transparent fees, just so we are completely honest, transparent about everything before getting into your surrogacy journey. So our match guarantee, basically, if you don't have a match, you don't pay any money up front. So I think that's something really amazing about SurrogateFirst, just to show how much faith that we have. And then we have 100% qualified surrogates. We do medical record review, background check, full drug panel, and psychological evaluation here at our agency. So you're getting matched with good surrogates. And then for our surrogates that potentially are watching, why choose us? So we have a lot of great programs at our agency. We have Build Your Own Compensation. We have a health and wellness program because we care about you from the inside out. So we also have amazing psychologists. Our health and wellness program is really amazing. I definitely recommend it for all of our surrogates. It's a free program if they wanted to join. So all of our staff is experienced GC and intended parents. So we have amazing coordinators here to help you every step of the way. And we have a Surrogate Plus program. If you meet certain criteria, you could earn up to $15,000 in extra compensation. So that's really nice. And we have a really supportive community because we care about all surrogates out there. We want to support each other during this time. And feel free to stay along and learn more at the end. And if you would like to become a surrogate or intended parent, just check out our website at surrogatefirst.com, and you can sign up for free consultations. Okay. So we're going to talk about the benefits of domestic or international. So some benefits of going with a domestic agency is favorable laws for IPs and GCs. U.S. surrogacy is really well established. I don't know how many years surrogacy has been going on in the United States, but it is really well established. We have access to well-screened surrogates and donors. We have excellent fertility clinics all throughout the U.S. You have legal parenthood as well as automatic U.S. citizenship if you go with a domestic surrogate and if you're domestic intended parents. And for international, one of the benefits could be having lower costs. That's why lots of people like to go international to save money. So that's one of the biggest driving factors for that. So we're going to talk about challenges with domestic and international. So first, for domestic, travel and logistics could be a challenge depending on it. So in my specific surrogacy journey, when I gave birth at exactly 37 weeks. And my intended parents, even though they were domestic intended parents, they had to travel to get to me. I believe they had like a 10-hour drive to get here. So it's like, when you're waiting for your surrogate to give birth, you have to keep travel in mind because you want to be there for the birth of your baby. So it's definitely something to think about, like travel logistics, no matter where you are in the world. So one of the challenges with domestic surrogacy is also higher costs. The United States surrogacy does have higher costs than other countries, but we'll talk about why that is in a little while. So we also have wait times, but sorry. Children being loud, you guys know how it is. So wait times, we have different wait times. They range from agency to agency. It depends on your criteria you have for your surrogates, or if you're a surrogate watching, the criteria for your intended parents. So there's also going to be wait times. It just all depends on your individual journey. And if you are an international intended parents coming to the US for surrogacy, it could be a 4 to 6 wait to get travel documents to return home. So that's something to keep in mind. So some challenges with international could be health risks. I've seen a lot of health risks in different countries for surrogacy when it comes to having screened surrogates. I think that is one of the biggest things to consider when having a surrogate is, are they being ethically screened? Have they had any complications in previous labor and deliveries? Have they had a child before? That's it seems like the bare minimum, but I think it's really important to think about the health risks. Are these surrogates being screened? Is your baby going to be born in a safe hospital? What is the medical care like? These are some questions that you need to ask yourself when considering international surrogacy. So legal risks, political risk, financial risk, and travel and logistics as well. I recently was at a SEEDS conference, and we had a speaker from Australia, and she was telling me how if a surrogate was here in the United States, the parents from Australia would have to travel for 24 hours on flights. So that is something you definitely want to keep in mind, especially if you're traveling throughout the world to have a surrogate. You're going to definitely have to think about the travel. Like, when is a surrogate going to give birth? How long are you going to be in this other country? These are just a lot of different things that you need to think about when thinking about the challenges. Okay, the next thing is legal aspects and parentage. So the legal regulations, they range from country to country. And it's something important to know the laws of the country where you're going to be having your baby in. So parentage agreements, pre-birth and post-birth orders, citizenship and passports, and exit immigration procedures. I think these are really important to know because you want to be able to get your baby home as fast as possible. And I know every country is different. In the US, it was 4 to 6 weeks, but I will share it in a little while, a story where this family had to wait a few months even to bring their baby home. So it's definitely a lot of legality things that you guys want to consider when deciding if you're going international or domestic. Okay, some financial aspects to consider. So transparency and costs. In the same story that I'll be talking to you guys about later, these parents, sometimes they sign agreements with countries around the world, and then they're paying more money than they really expected to. So it's definitely important to make sure you know what you're spending your money on, because places might not be honest. You never know. I think it's really important to look in everything that you're spending on for your surrogacy. So another financial aspect is insurance coverage. How can the surrogate be covered in another country? How does that work? How do I pay for insurance? And how can I get my baby insured? And all that aspects of the insurance. So travel and accommodation expenses. Like I said, in the story I'm about to be talking about, this couple had to stay in another country for a few months. They only expected to be there for like a few weeks, but it ended up being a few months. And you have to pay hotel, Airbnb, the flights, how fast you're going to be able to get there, how much is this going to cost, especially being in a different country. So local and legal administrative fees, these are just some more fees that you could possibly expect for going international. And then also financial guarantees and fixed fee packages. So a lots of countries, they do offer like financial guarantees, fixed fee packages. So I definitely look into it and try to do your research on all the financial before just signing an agreement. Okay, let me move my camera. So we're going to be talking about surrogacy around the world. So I have a bunch of countries right here. I have Mexico, Ukraine, Georgia, Uganda, and Canada. So these are just a few things that I put together to talk about the concerns that I have for each country. So Mexico is the first one we have. So it's legal uncertainty. So I feel like language barrier can play a lot into this. So if you are going to a Spanish speaking country, I think it's really important to have an interpreter, or having a bilingual lawyer can be very helpful in cases like that. Compensation fairness. I know in Mexico, it is a huge debate if the surrogates are being compensated fairly. It's really hard to tell because sometimes they don't really want to share that as public knowledge. But in my opinion, I don't think they're compensated fairly in Mexico. And I think it's actually really sad. And then the different type of medical facilities in Mexico, they are going to be different than the United States. So it's definitely something too important to consider, is the medical quality. What if your baby is born and has some problems and they might not have the means to take care of your baby properly? And also, I touched on it a little bit, the unethical practices. So it's really important. So we don't, like here in the United States, our surrogates are financially secure before they're even signed up with our agency. But it's kind of scary and sad at times because some people are truly doing it for the money. They think being a surrogate is their only way they can provide for their families in some of these countries. So it's definitely something to consider, is the ethical aspect. So the Ukraine is also legal and ethical compliance, language barriers, and medical quality. It's a lot. I seen in Ukraine and some of these videos online. You guys can do your own research, but on YouTube, if you look up surrogacy in Ukraine, surrogacy in Mexico, surrogacy in all these different places, it's really hard to say if you're choosing an ethical agency, if your surrogate was pre-screened. These are a lot of different things you want to think about. So the country, Georgia. So if they're ethically vetting providers, if they're getting good doctors, if they're doing the correct standard of everything, and like ethical screening, legal protections, and their medical facilities, because it's definitely a huge difference than here in the United States. So Uganda is legal ambiguity, fair compensation challenge, and varying medical standards. Yeah, so every country has different medical standards. So it's just something you really want to consider. And then Canada. A lot of people love to go to Canada for surrogacy, but the problem is the long wait times. Since surrogacy is so highly needed, in places like Canada where surrogates cannot be compensated, a lot of people go there, but then they're waiting a long time. I don't even know how long, but I can imagine up to 3 years to even have a surrogate. And who knows how long the process can really take in different countries. Okay. So I want to talk about some challenges that we've seen in the past. So I think the biggest thing that I've seen in the last 2 years was COVID-19. I've seen so many problems due to COVID. It is crazy. to do with the travel restrictions mostly. Because when the travel restrictions were put in place and people had pregnant surrogates around the world, it was hard for them to get out of the country to be able to pick up their babies. I know a few surrogates that are my friends that had to take home the babies and take care of them for a few months or a few weeks. You just never know how long the delays are because due to travel restrictions, COVID-19. And also with conflicts in politics, as we've seen with the war in Ukraine, so many families were struggling to go to the Ukraine to pick up their babies. And it's just something really scary. I don't even want to think about it, but it's just something to think about the conflicts. If another country's at war, like, would you really want to have your baby in a place where they're at war? And it's just something to consider. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys about U.S. surrogacy, a safer alternative. So a few things about the U.S. surrogacy is we have legal clarity and protections. Throughout the United States, it's pretty much legal everywhere, so you never have to worry about that. But there are lots of lawyers in place, there's lots of laws in place to protect intended parents and surrogates. We have financial transparency, insurance coverage for our surrogates, access to the top medical facilities, financial guarantees, and fixed free packages. Like at different agencies, they have like a guaranteed baby program, and it can help you really calculate how much you're going to truly spend on surrogacy. And cultural and language compatibility is something that is amazing here in the US. There are so many people that speak different languages here, but if you are a surrogate or an intended parent, and you're matched with somebody that doesn't speak the same language, that could potentially have some problems. We have a huge supportive community and lots of guidance. There are so many amazing groups out here. So you're truly supported throughout your whole journey as an intended parent or a surrogate. Okay. And minimize travel and accommodation costs. So if you are an intended parent here in the United States, it's going to be a lot easier to travel to see your surrogate in a different state compared to hopping on one or multiple flights across the world. So it's a very minimized travel and accommodation costs. And safety and stability. United States surrogacy is the safest that I have seen out there. And it just, where would you want to have your baby? You would want to have your baby the safest place possible, where you have the lawyers protecting you, the doctors protecting you, your agency protecting you. So that's just something I wanted to add in there. And our local expertise. Just because we have so many agencies, so many surrogates, we really truly have a good country for surrogacy here in the US. So I wanted to talk about two stories today that were close to my heart. I watch a lot of videos on surrogacy, documentaries, YouTube, so many. Yeah, I can't even explain. But first, I want to talk about this one here in Mexico. This was just in 2023. In a report by the U.S. News in March 2023, a U.S. couple's surrogacy journey in Mexico unfolded, revealing the challenging obstacles they encountered. Their quest to obtain citizenship for their newborn and bring their baby home proved to be a trying ordeal. So this beautiful couple, they were from the United States. Excuse me. So this beautiful couple, they were from the United States. They went to Mexico for their surrogacy journey. They had their beautiful baby boy, but they had a lot of challenges bringing their baby home. They expected it to be a really short amount of time. Like, I believe they expected the baby to be home in just a few weeks, but a few weeks turned into months. So the husband had to stay in Mexico with the baby. They had to pull a lot of strings just to bring their baby home, and their agency wasn't there for them. And I think that's the worst part of it all, that the agency was just okay with taking their money, but not helping them. So I'm really happy their situation was settled and they got to bring their baby home, but it's something scary. I couldn't imagine having my baby in a different country and everybody around me saying, no, you can't bring your baby home. It's just really scary, especially with the language barriers and your agency not working with you. It's just a very scary situation, but you can watch that video right on YouTube. It was on ABC, so I think that's a very interesting video to watch. Oops, sorry, let me go back. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the story of this couple from the Ukraine I wanted to talk about this American couple who traveled to the Ukraine for their surrogacy journey. So let me just move this out the way. So, in a story featured on the Today Show in March 2022, a U.S. family recounted their surrogacy journey. They had their child through a surrogate in Ukraine, an experience that became even more intense as they found themselves just days away from an outbreak of a Russian attack. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. But this couple, they had their baby in Ukraine. But it was right when the war started. Their surrogate went into labor as Russia was attacking Ukraine. They had to actually have their baby in a bomb shelter. They were all underground in a bomb shelter when their surrogate gave birth to their baby. And that is absolutely terrifying. I can't imagine what this family went through. Absolutely terrifying. But right after the surrogate had their baby, they actually had to flee. They had to flee just for days after they had their newborn baby. And I'm so grateful that they were able to get out of that situation. But it's just really scary, and it really shows you the uncertainty of surrogacy abroad. All right, give me 1 second. Yeah, so those are just two stories that I found online, but there are so many stories about surrogacy abroad, so definitely do your research. It's very important. Okay, so I wanted to share some quick tips if you're choosing to go international. So, number one, choosing a reputable agency. I cannot explain this enough. Choosing a reputable agency is so important. Choosing a reputable agency is super important. Looking for reviews and making sure you're at the best agency possible when going international. Number two, know the legal landscape. It's important to know the laws of the country you're going to be having your baby in. So, medical care and screening. It's important to know what type of medical care is available to your surrogates and to your newborn baby once he or she is born. And the screening process, I think that is one of the most important ones, is the screening process for the surrogates, because you definitely want to make sure your baby is going to be held comfortably and safely. And clear surrogacy contracts is super important. You definitely want to understand what kind of contracts you're getting into and to be able to have a lawyer there to support you guys. So another tip is financial planning. Planning for the what ifs, what if worst case scenario, just planning everything out. And number 6 is staying informed about travel. Just like I was talking about, due to COVID-19 and all the travel restrictions, stay informed, stay up to date on everything so you can get to your baby as fast as possible. Open communication, being able to openly communicate with your surrogate, openly communicate with your agency is super important. And building a support network. I highly recommend Facebook for everything, guys. There are so many groups on Facebook that are very helpful for surrogacy. I believe there are even groups for people considering international surrogacy. So I would definitely recommend joining some of those groups so you can have a support network. It's really important when going through something as serious as surrogacy. So number 10, plan for contingencies, plan for the what ifs, what if everything goes wrong? Plan everything out. So stay informed and seek professional guidance and consider domestic surrogacy. I talk to so many people, and lots of people are considering if they want to go with a domestic surrogacy or international surrogacy. But I say keep your options open. Do what's best for your family, but do your research and keep your options open. Okay, so the next steps, if you're considering becoming a surrogate, so we have a free surrogate consultation that you can do right at our website. You can sign up for a free consultation at any time that's perfect for you. You can qualify and apply. So submit your application and see if you're qualified for surrogacy, and then completing our surrogate compensation calculator right on our website. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining the webinar tonight. I am so excited to do these webinars for you guys every 2 weeks. We have another one coming up in 2 weeks, so I'm super excited for that one. If you guys have any questions for us at Surrogate First, you could always give me an email or a call. So my email is Yesenia@surrogatefirst.com. You spell it like YESSENIA@surrogatefirst.com, or you can reach out to our director directly at 424-567-3703. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and I really hope I shared some helpful information with you guys today. I hope to see you guys at our upcoming webinars. We do these bi-weekly, so I hope to see you guys at the next one. Bye.